Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am your host, as always, Jeremy, and welcome back to another What's Next on Basketball YouTube video. I am your host, as always, Jeremy, and today we're going to be doing episode 16 of the What's Next on Basketball podcast, and we have a lot to talk about today. Before we get things started, the day of recording, I just wanted to, mention it since it is the same day that it happened. Today marks the day, I think it's 4 years now. Yeah, 4 years since the passing of Kobe Bryant. So I didn't want to make a video about it, just by itself, because I didn't want people thinking, I was doing it for the views or anything. But I do think it's still worth mentioning and, at least, I don't know the right word would be recognizing, but at least, just remembering Kobe and, of course, all the others that passed away, including his daughter, during the plane crash. And of course the others, I might butcher their names here, but I will say their name as well. Again, it was Kobe Bryant, Gianna Bryant, Payne Chester, Sarah Chester, Christina Mazur, John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, and the pirate Ara Zobayan. I'm sorry if I pronounced their last names wrong, but I still wanted to mention their names so you guys know that it's not just Kobe that passed away, it was them as well. But of course today we also admire Kobe Bryant and everything he did. Obviously our prayers go to the family. We wish they were still here and, still kicking it. But, unfortunately that is not the case. But again, we send I send my condolences to the families and everyone else that's grieving. I think on behalf of me, and the rest of the NBA community, we just want to say thank you, Kobe, for all the great memories. And yeah, we wish you were here. But with that out of the way, before we get started with the rest of the news, there's just one more thing that needs to happen. Let's hear that intro. Alright, now that intro's out of the way, let's get started with some more news. Unfortunately, we still have to talk about some more sad news just to get it out of the way. I wanted to talk about the Warriors assistant coach, Dejan, I think it was pronounced Dejan Malojevic. Again, you guys know how I'm bad with pronouncing names, but he was the assistant coach of the Warriors. He recently passed away, I want to say a week ago now. And obviously this was very devastating for the just hit my mic there, for the Golden State Warriors and everyone involved. They had to take, I think it was like a game or two off just so they can grieve. And I know some people were upset about that when they did take games off, but I feel like people have to understand that for us as fans, an assistant coach doesn't really mean nothing. That most of the time we'll just only see them on the bench and stuff. To us, that doesn't really matter or affect the game. But you have to remember that for the players that talk to these people all the time, that are literally around them 24/7. This means a lot to them, and this is basically, family to them. So, my condolences to everyone in the Warriors, from the players and the rest of the staff. It really sucks to see that happened. And, my condolences. Now we're going to move on to the next thing here. Another, it's not as sad as the rest, but this is some crazy news that happened. And I'm sure you all heard about it and probably waiting for me to talk about it, because I was going to make a video on it, but then I decided to wait until the podcast episode, which I said was going to be like 2 days ago. But you guys already know me when it comes to dates. I tell you guys, it'll be done in like a week. And the next thing you know, it doesn't come out until 2 weeks. So you guys always have to take my dates with a grain of salt, because, I'm all about quality over quantity for all of you. And, I just had to put it out there. It just took a little longer than I should have, which I had some things going on, in my life. Not anything crazy or bad. It's just I was busy, so I didn't want to just rush it and, give it to you guys. But I'm sure you're all very understanding about that. And, but it's about the Milwaukee Bucks firing their head coach, Adrian Griffin. So after not even full season with them, this was his first year with the Milwaukee Bucks, they fired him. And I've heard many different stories what's going on, but I will just take them as speculations and rumors from what I'm saying. So anything you hear me saying, just take it as speculation and rumors, because nothing from what I've heard so far is 100% true. That came from the Bucks or Adrian Griffin. This is all just like sources saying stuff. So there's different things I've heard. But the main thing I'll talk about is that apparently there was some problems with Adrian Griffin behind the scenes with the players and the staff. It seems like players and staff are very frustrated with him, and it just seemed like he was just a lot to handle in the back, doing choices that players didn't agree with, like Dame and Giannis, and the same thing with the staff. They felt like he was making questionable decisions. So because of that, I guess the Bucks saw it as something that they felt like wasn't going to change, and they didn't want to waste any more time with him, so I guess they took him out. I don't know why they did, though. Again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so this is something we'll definitely hear later on. But for me personally, if you want my opinion on it, I think it's kind of silly just to get him out when he's not even done with his first year. You could have done the first year, let him do whatever happens, and then been like, all right, Adrian, we need you to do this, this, and this next season, or else we're not keeping you on the team. Like, they didn't even give him a chance. Like, it's not even All-Star break yet, and he's already fired. So that's really disappointing to see there. And then to top it all off, the Bucks not only did that, they also hired a new coach, and that coach is Doc Rivers. Yeah. The Bucks decided that they needed a new coach that Giannis will respect, Dame will respect, and will help them on the championship run this season, because it is something they can still do. They are definitely the top two when it comes to coming out of the East with them and the Celtics, but I don't know. I don't know why you would hire Doc Rivers. I've told you guys before, in my personal opinion, again, I do think he is a good coach. Like, for you getting signed with this many teams, you got to be at least decent and good. But I do think people overrate him too much as Doc Rivers. I just don't see him as like this crazy coach that everyone else sees as him. Like, this man, I think it's either two or three times he's blown a 3-1 lead, and that just seems crazy for me. A 3-1 lead in the playoffs. But it seems like he'll be with them. It was, from what I saw, a contract. It was like 4 seasons for like $4 million. So they're going to have him for quite some time. And I think Stephen A. Smith said it best. This is his last shot. After this, if it doesn't work out with the Bucks, I think Doc Rivers' career as a head coach is over. There will be no 4th chance, 5th chance, whatever point we're at with Doc Rivers. This is it for him. This is his last dance. If he can't get it done with the Milwaukee Bucks, I just don't think he'll be a head coach again after this. Again, he'll be with them for like 4 seasons, so we'll see how it goes, see how the Bucks feel. I think the Bucks were also just really desperate to find another coach right away, since they are pretty confident in how their playoff run will be this season. It seems like they are definitely going to try to go after another chip for Giannis. And of course, Giannis, he said that too, back in the offseason when they were trying to re-sign him. He said he's only here to win championships, and that's what the Bucks are trying to do. So, of course, getting someone like Doc Rivers that has championship experience makes sense. I just thought it was still questionable to fire your first-year coach. So there's definitely stuff we don't know as fans behind the scenes, because firing him, even though he was doing pretty good in his first year and they were the 2nd seed, something had to have happened to get him fired. I don't know what it is, but something happened. Next up, we are going to talk about the Miami Heat. So I already made a video on it, so I'll do it really quick just in case you guys didn't see my video. The Miami Heat did a trade where they got Terry Rozier from the Hornets. They traded away Kyle Lowry, and I think it was a 1st-round pick in exchange for Terry Rozier. I said in the video, I think this is a fantastic trade by the Miami Heat. I know he just did his first game. Let's actually see here, because I watched a little bit of the game, but I didn't see too much. So let's see. I think it was yesterday, Thursday. Let's see. He didn't do great his first game there. He only had 7 points. He was 3 for 10. So not a great start from what it looks like. I think this was his first game. Let me make sure, because I could have sworn I saw him play a game before this. I think he had another game, it looks like here. Yeah, against the Grizzlies. But both games he did actually not very good, so yeesh. Hopefully he can change that, because he was really good with the Hornets. I'm not sure why he's having a rough start. It could just be simply that since he's on a new team, he has to get used to it and everything. But I'm sure during the playoffs, Terry Rozier will be a big help to them. I think he's a great player. I even called it saying he's probably going to be the sixth man for them. And I know for game one, he was like on the bench. Again, I didn't watch the one against the Celtics, which was the recent game for them. So I'm not sure if he is still on the bench or not. But again, a great deal by them. As for the Hornets, it was good to get a first round pick. From what I heard when it comes to Kyle Lowry, it seems like the Hornets are going to try to trade him for more pieces. So definitely expect some trade in the next couple days involving Kyle. But that's all I'll really say about that. Next up, we are going to talk about Tristan Thompson, actually. I'll give you the exact amount of games right now. He got suspended by the NBA after he tested positive for performance enhancing. And let me check here, the amount of games, it was 25 games he got suspended for. I'm not sure what it was he used exactly. They just said he tested positive for it. So I'm not going to lie, when I saw that news, I simply said, he's still in the league? I didn't even know he was still playing. So apologies, Tristan Thompson. I didn't even know you were still playing. But yeah, he's going to be gone for 25 games. So that's another player gone for it looks like he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So not really good for the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially how I believe they still have Darius Garland and Evan Mobley that are still out. So it's just looking rough. And it's not looking great for Donovan Mitchell and someone where they're trying to convince him to stay, but it's just not looking good. So that's no good there. Next, we had this one. I'll just say pretty quickly. It was just I saw a news article talking about the Jazz owners, how they want to get an NHL team. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. I just wanted to mention it. It seems like they're trying to expand more in the sports industry, not just having the basketball. I think they have another team, another sport, but again, I don't really follow the Jazz's ownership or anything like that to a high level. But yeah, I just want to mention that just because I just saw it and thought it was interesting that they're trying to make an NHL team now. Next up, we have Wes Unseld Jr. So Wes Unseld Jr. was the coach for the Washington Wizards, and recently he is no longer the head coach. He has moved up now to the front office, where it seems like he'll get a big role with the front office. Now they're going to do what they usually do when they take away the head coach. They're just going to have a coach just for the rest of the season, and it seems like they said they'll look for a coach after the season, see what they can get. Who knows? Maybe they can get Adrian Griffin over to the Wizards. The Wizards. And I think he's a great coach. I think that'd be good for Adrian Griffin to be with the Wizards, help these young guys get better and better, and for the young guys in the Wizards, just help them out because they're not looking good at all. Obviously, they're starting their rebuild. I think they're only a year or two in now, so we'll see how that goes. Next up, I wanted to talk about who else I think is going to get traded this season. After the trade with Terry Rozier, I was thinking about more and more on who exactly are the next ones that could potentially get traded. Now, I have a list here of a couple players. Now, the players I'm going to mention, I just want to clarify, there's been no news that they're 100% getting traded. I've heard teams interested in them. I've heard other people talking about they would like to see these players get traded. And then I think it was one or two here that were just my opinion on maybe they could get traded. So again, this is no backup resources for this whatsoever. This is just me simply naming players that I have a feeling is going to get traded this season. First off, we're going to start with Alec Burks. Alec Burks right now is on the Pistons, and he's been doing pretty well with them, being a nice veteran player. And I feel like a player like his caliber could definitely be good on a championship team. So I definitely expect the Pistons trying to do trades there. I know they've already done, I think, one or two trades already, because I know they traded Marvin Bagley, I think it was. Didn't they trade Marvin Bagley? I don't remember where he's at now, but I'm pretty sure I saw he got traded. But again, I know there's going to be, players trying to go after Alec Burks, and with the Pistons definitely not going to make the playoffs, I'm sure they wouldn't mind trading Alec Burks for some more picks back to help the team. Next up, I had Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, I think, in my opinion, will 100% get traded somewhere to a championship team. I don't know where it will be, whether it's a reunion back, with the Nuggets. I know the Knicks are interested, the Lakers. I even heard some people say the Thunder. There's a lot of the top contending teams that are interested in Bruce Brown, which is understandable. And the Raptors, with them starting their rebuild now, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to trade him away. Or they might not, who knows. I just know they're trying to trade a lot of guys away to get more picks back. So definitely expect, keep a lookout for Bruce Brown, seeing what's going to happen with him. Next up, I had Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson's a name that I've been hearing a lot around, the NBA and around fans, saying that Jordan Clarkson, one, that teams are very interested in him. Again, back to the whole championship contenders team. Again, you're going to, basically all these players are interested from like championship teams. And Jordan Clarkson, obviously a really, really good player. He recently just got a triple-double for the first time in years, decades, for the Utah Jazz. And he's just a great role player to have, a great bench player. He could even be a starter, honestly, on some teams. And he's just great to have as a piece. I think he's a really good piece. I know like one of the top teams like the Knicks that were interested in him. I know there's a lot of names around the Knicks and them trying to get more players because the Knicks are, again, trying to get closer and closer to that championship status. And I think another one was the Lakers too. If I remember correctly, I think Jordan Clarkson used to be on the Lakers. I think it was him that was on the Lakers. Actually, let's look it up right now. I don't want to give you guys the misinformation on that, and it's actually now on my mind. Remember, guys, I'm very professional for the podcast. Let's see here. Jordan Clarkson. No, not bio. Here we go. Yes, he was drafted with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he played for 4 seasons until it looks like he got traded to the Cavaliers. I did not know that, actually. So that's interesting there. But yeah, he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, well, from what it says here, I wonder if that means he won a chip with them, because it looks like he was around during the time they did win. Because oh wait, no, I don't think they did win. Hold on, Cleveland Cavaliers. What year did they win? Oh no, my mistake. That was 2016, not 2018. Who won 2018? Is that the Warriors? Might have been the Warriors. Probably was the Warriors. They were crazy during that time. And yeah, so he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers then later on, but we just care about the Lakers because that's what I was looking at. So yeah, again, the Lakers are also interested in Jordan Clarkson. I know a lot of teams are. Like, a lot of teams basically are interested in Jordan Clarkson, and I feel like he will get traded just because he'll be like a good piece for the Jazz to take away, because again, they are also a team on a rebuild. Next up is Gordon Hayward. This one was won by me. I've heard any news about Gordon Hayward getting traded. I just feel like since the Hornets are just trading away players, might as well just trade Gordon Hayward away to add some space to, either sign or get other players in that won't cost them a lot. If for who I think would even want Gordon Hayward, I don't know, maybe the Celtics have a reunion with Gordon Hayward, help him win a chip. That's all I really have to say about that. There's another reason why I put Gordon Hayward besides just, I don't know, I just felt like it. This player, of course, has been big talks. It's Malcolm Brogdon. Ever since he got traded away from the Celtics to the Trailblazers, everyone's been talking about teams that he could potentially be going to. So far, the Trailblazers haven't traded him away just yet, but the rumors and speculations are that sooner or later he will get traded away for some picks, because again, the Trailblazers don't need him. They have players like Scoot Henderson that they're trying to help get better. So him on that team is just really affecting their timeline and stuff, and just doesn't really make sense for them. The next guy I have on here is DeJounte Murray. Again, another top superstar that has been in huge talks. Actually, now that I think about it, he's probably like the last big superstar that I've heard of this season that seems like he might get traded away. It sounds like the Hawks realized that Trey and DeJounte just don't work as well as they thought they were going to work with each other. So it seems like they're going to try to trade him away for something good. I don't know where DeJounte will go. If I had to guess, maybe I could see him. I think the Lakers were a big one that wanted DeJounte Murray, so I could definitely see that happening. I know the Knicks were another top team that was interested in Murray. I don't know what they would give back just because I feel like the Hawks might ask for a lot in exchange for DeJounte. So we'll see about that and what teams will be able to afford him. And the last guy I'll talk about on here is just Tobias Harris, just because I don't understand why the 76ers still have him on the team. I feel like when the 76ers just look at him, they just get upset knowing that they could have had Jimmy Butler instead of Tobias Harris. So it's just really funny to me. And I feel like sooner or later Harris is going to get, the boot, get kicked out of Philly, and just go to another team. But that's all I have for players that I just thought about when it came to if I think they're going to get traded, or guessing who might be the next players traded. Now, there is one more guy. This is the next topic we'll talk about. There is another guy that could potentially get traded, and not even potentially. It seems like it will happen that he gets traded, and that is Quentin Grimes from the New York Knicks. So for those of you that aren't very big Knicks fans, Quentin Grimes has been a really good player for the Knicks coming off the he was a starter, but once we got, I think it was Dante DiVincenzo and OG Anunoby, there was really no spot for him in the starting lineup, so they put him back on the bench. And he's been really, really good for us. A great three-point shooter, a great defender. So it's really nice to see how well he's been doing. But unfortunately, there's been a lot of news coming from Quentin Grimes that he's very frustrated with how he's, being used. And he wants to be used more than just being on the bench and stuff. So because of that, the Knicks have heard his frustrations and have even said that they are looking into it and trying to help him get traded to another team. So unfortunately for, Knicks fans like myself, it seems like we'll soon have to say goodbye to Quentin Grimes, which really stinks because we could have done that and then maybe kept Immanuel Quickley. But I digress. It's over at this point with Immanuel Quickley now being gone. It just really stinks that Grimes isn't very happy about his role. I think Grimes is another guy that could potentially have like this all-star level to him, but he was just never really used like that. We've given him multiple chances to try to be that guy, but it just doesn't seem like it's working out. And again, he seems very frustrated with how he's being used, so it just seems like another one of those cases, unfortunate cases. Now, let's see. The second to last thing I will talk about in today's podcast, we're about 20 minutes in, so it's not as long of an episode as I thought it was going to be. But anyways, next we're going to talk about who I think are finals contenders. So we're already past the halfway point with the NBA. I think we're like over 3 games past the halfway point. And I was going to wait until the All-Star break to talk about it, but I decided since we're in the halfway point, just talk about it now. And I have 3 teams in the East, and I have, let's see here, I have 5 in the West that I think are, in my opinion, for sure championship contenders. There's probably some other teams you can put on here too, but I just looked at in the case of do I really think they can make it past all these teams? And to me, I had a confident yes. Now, we'll first start with the East, since they had the least amount of teams. I think it's very obvious the teams I'm going to say on here, but right now it's I think there are the top, all these teams are top 3 in the East right now. Yes, they're all top 3, and that's the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Boston Celtics I chose on here because I don't think anyone can argue with that the Celtics are the best team right now in the NBA. They just lost their first game at home. I think it was against the Nuggets. But even after that fact, they're 35-10 right now. They are doing absolutely incredible. They're on a 3-game win streak right now. Jason, Jalen, Kristaps, Drew Holiday, they're all looking great. I think this year is, again, maybe what would be the right word? I think this is the year where we say for the Celtics that they have a guaranteed spot in the NBA Finals and potentially even a guaranteed, win for this year's playoffs, just because, again, the West is stacked, but I don't really know that many teams that can even go toe-to-toe with the Celtics right now. Now, you have to also say the point that the Celtics bench isn't looking too great, and there's a really high chance that that's going to cost them the playoffs. There's been many, cases where the starting lineup was able to carry the bench all the way to the finals, win a chip. I'm sure that's happened many times. So there's a chance that could happen, but I do feel like the bench not being as great as they think it is. I think even the Celtics have admitted that the bench isn't the greatest. I think that is a flaw from theirs. But even besides that, I do think they are championship contenders. Next up is the Milwaukee Bucks, as I mentioned. And the Milwaukee Bucks, again, another team that just obvious choices having Dame and Giannis. My only concern is them firing their coach, and it seems like they're still not meshing together as well as we thought they were going to do. And I feel like that will really cost them in the playoffs. And as for the Philadelphia, oh my goodness, that was a bad stutter. As for the Philadelphia 76ers, they have just been doing really well. With Tyrese Maxey moving on to that next level. Joel Embiid having another great MVP season. He just recently dropped 70 points. Now, he's not my MVP vote, even after dropping 70. I still think it should go to Luka, just because of how great he's been doing. But I know since his team's not like top 3 or anything, I don't think he'll get the votes that I think he would get. But I still think Luka's MVP. As for Joel Embiid, he's having an MVP season as well, doing great, and definitely has a good points as to why he should win it again. So that's really it there. Now, as for the West, I chose the Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns. All these teams, I think, are pretty obvious and shouldn't be too surprising why I chose them. Both the Timberwolves and Thunder are the top 2 seeds. Both have really young guys and just look incredible, and honestly seem like they have a good argument for potentially being dark horse picks when it comes to going in the NBA Finals. And that's still crazy to say, even though they're the top 2 seeds, because again, you have like the Nuggets, who just were the previous champions and again could win again. And obviously you have the Phoenix Suns that have that big 3 that just looks dangerous right now. And of course the Clippers, who were able to mesh things really well together after getting James Harden. And just again, this actually looks like again another season where the Clippers might win it. The only thing that's stopping the Clippers is themselves, and they've been able to fix that. I think right now the Clippers are on a 3-game win streak. The Suns are on a 7-game win streak. They've really been able to keep it together even after the injuries they had in the beginning of the season when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. It's just, those are my picks. I just feel like that's the case. And of course the Nuggets I put on here because I have to put them on here. They're the reigning champs. Of course, they are going to be considered, finals contenders. I know they're not the top 1 seed like they were last year, and Jokic isn't looking the highest quality, player like he was last season. I still think he is the best player in the league. It's just having players around him now, he doesn't really need to try as hard every single night. But yeah, that's what I would say for the West. Now, the last thing we will talk about on here is the All-Star starting 5 selections. So yesterday, it was revealed who the starting 5 will be for each team when it comes to the All-Star game. And I hate to break it to you guys, but I told you, who it was going to be. I think my predictions, unfortunately, I can't say it was a 10 out of 10, and I'll explain that later. But I got 9 out of the 10 guys right. So we'll start with the West. The West, their starting 5 will be Luka from the Mavericks, Shea from the Oklahoma City Thunder, LeBron James as the captain from the Los Angeles Lakers. You have Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets and Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. So once again, LeBron will be the captain of an all-star team. And I think they said he broke a record. This will be like his 20th appearance in the All-Star game, which I guess is the most by any player. So congratulations to him. As for the East, their starting 5 is Damian Lillard from the Bucks, Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers, Jason Tatum from the Celtics, Giannis from the Bucks, and Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers. So I told you guys I had 9 out of 10 right. The one I didn't get right was Jalen Brunson. Instead of Jalen Brunson getting that spot, it was Damian Lillard. And again, let's start off with this first before I get into how I feel about it. Damian Lillard, you are one of the greatest players currently in the league. You're really good, and you've shown that many, many times throughout your career. But I don't think anyone can argue that Jalen Brunson has been doing way better than Damian Lillard. People have to understand, and I talked about it before, that this is a popularity contest when it comes to the All-Star voting. He won the media votes, he won the player votes, but he didn't win the popularity vote, which is aka the fan votes. Instead, it was Damian Lillard that won the fan votes. And honestly, it was the reason why Damian Lillard got the spot over Jalen. But I do think he'll get a reserve spot. There's no doubt in my mind that him and Julius will get like reserves, all-star reserves. It's just very frustrating to me that he just didn't get it. And you can make arguments like, oh, well, the Knicks fans should have kept voting for him and stuff. But it's like, again, you have to remember Damian Lillard's very, very popular amongst fans. Everybody knows who Damian Lillard is and how great he is. And that's how these votes work. Like, look at it during the fan votes when they were going on. Top 10 for the West, one of those players was Austin Reeves. And I think even Lakers fans can agree with me on this, that Austin Reeves is not an all-star player this season. So it just really sucks, and it is infuriating when it comes to the fan votes. I know they do it just because they want fans to participate in this kind of stuff, but I do think we have to consider their votes a little less than we do, because it's just frustrating when there's players that get snubbed for that all-star starting five when they should have gotten it. Now, I know some players were upset about like Steph Curry not getting it, which, again, I think all the players in the West deserved it. Shea has just been doing really, really good, and he's another player that might get the MVP this season just because of how great he is. But it just really sucked seeing that, and I don't know who the All-Star reserves will be. I think they said in a week we'll find out about that, or actually maybe in a couple days. I think it's closer than I think when it comes to knowing the backup players. But that's what the All-Star thing was. Definitely let me know how you feel about that, and if there's any players you think that I didn't mention that also deserved that spot, because I know there's many players that deserved it. And also let me know who you think, is going to be the All-Star reserves. Like, who do you think the coaches are going to choose? Who would you like them to choose? But now, with all of that news out of the way, that will be the end of this video. Again, apologize for the delay in making these episodes. I have the other episode that I talked about in the works as well. But this was episode 16 of the What's Next in Basketball podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below anything related to this video, or just any thoughts you have about what's going on in the NBA, or maybe some previous videos I made, whatever you want to comment about. And again, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me a lot. We'll also end off the video too by saying thank you, because I almost forgot to even mention it, but thank you guys for getting me to 100 subscribers. That's really, really awesome that we were able to get that. We got that even though like a month ago I was at 50, and to think that I was able to get to 100 this fast is really, really awesome. I really appreciate you all, and of course, welcome all you newcomers to my channel. I hope you enjoy my content on here. Again, this is more so the podcast, so you won't see as much editing or anything like that when you see my videos, but I'm really glad to say that, you joined my, my team here, my community. We're trying to, now our next goal will be 200 subscribers. We're hoping at the end of the year I'll be at 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers, but that's the year-end goal. We're not going to worry about that now. So stay tuned for more videos. I have that video and another video that I'm going to be working on very soon. But again, I am your host, as always, Jeremy. This is the What's Next on Basketball YouTube channel and podcast, and I am signing off for the day. Have a great day, everybody, and rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.